And as I've said before, the underlying kind of significance of a very good employee, or attributes, not significance, attributes of a very good employee, is the one who, and you recognize them right away, the one who kind of follows that kind of behavior, the one who shows up early, leaves late, doesn't complain in the middle, works hard. The guy's going to make the most money, but doesn't care about the people around him other than what he can do to help. There's so many things going on in the world right now. We did a post today, or we have one coming out on Instagram, about so much whining. There's so many people that are, again, it comes back to success and how many people, we talk about this all the time, how many people talk about wanting to do something, want to be something, want to get out there. And here they had this, the opportunity that COVID has provided employees is so significant to set yourself apart from everybody else. And yet so many people aren't taking advantage of it. And so many people, to the contrary, are making it worse for themselves. If you're that person, did we put this post out today? If you're the person that
no, we haven't yet.
Yeah. So if we have one coming out, if you're that person, or you know that person that sits and bitches about not being successful, or not even bitches. I'm going to take that back. Let's back it up. Talks about, I listened to Gary Vee. I listened to one of the myriad of other ones. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I listened to Jerry and Billy. Whatever your thing is, right? I've read every book. I know every trick. I've heard all of the stories. That's what I want to go do. And then they're sitting at home because they lost their job at COVID, and they're sitting around doing nothing because the government took my job and I'm getting paid a check. And so I don't really have to go to work, but I still want to go do these things. But, I got hosed because of the actions of the government. And to that, I say, you are exactly the person who won't find what you're looking for. If that's you, it's not too late, but you're not going to be part of the process. You're going to be part of the problem. And too many times these people think, because society accepts that, right? They let them get away with it.
Especially during COVID.
Particularly during COVID. But this is nothing new. If you go back to our 250 odd podcasts, we've talked about this many, many, many times. It's akin to its mentality. It is, how has society treated you coming up? And what is your mentality on a day in and day out basis? Are you the person, I'll give an example. Are you the person that when you find something wrong at work, so one of your coworkers did something wrong. They left something sitting somewhere. They turned something, left it on that's not supposed to be on. They left a door unlocked that's not supposed to be unlocked. They didn't finish a project, didn't dot some I, didn't cross some T. And you find it. Are you the person that doesn't fix it unless they're told to after they go and tell somebody? Are you the person that fixes it, doesn't tell the boss, but goes home and complains about it? Because there's no difference. There's no difference between going home and complaining about it, or fixing it yourself and not telling the boss. What you should do, the winning behavior, the behavior that is going to set you up for the most amount of success, is not giving two F's that the person made the mistake, not feeling like you have to call them out on the mistake, which we do all of the time because it makes us feel better, right? These are the kind of behaviors that are counter to what you need to be successful. And then we try to say, but I didn't do that, Jerry. Or we try to break it down into different pieces to somehow get the satisfaction that we want out of it to make ourselves feel better, but still look like we're being magnanimous. Right. And it comes back. And this is one I probably see more than any. Just fix it and then bitch about it at home. And if you bitch about it at home, it's the same thing. That mindset is not the one that is conducive to you doing what you purport to want to do what you talk about, what you want to do. The winning mindset is, because it has the most value to you, is just fix the problem and move on. I don't care. I don't care. Billy's heard it 1,000 times. Any new listeners, I don't care what your job is or my job is. I don't care what anybody else who ever had a job did next to me. I don't care if you get paid more than me and I do twice as much as you. I don't care if you never show up and I have to cover your work every day and mine. There is no additional energy put out on my part worrying about what you're doing and what your thing is. I never did that. Now, that puts me in a rare air. Very few people do that, particularly to the extent that I did. I came by it naturally because I'm a survivor. And I think when you come from where I came from, I was smart enough. No, not early on. I had the instincts early on to that was what was going to benefit me the most. And mostly those came from survival instincts, as I just couldn't care what anybody else was doing. It was all about me eating my next meal. As time went on, that proved to be a winning formula, that proved to be a superpower for me. And so I recognize it now, and having had as many employees as I've had, and as I've said before, the underlying kind of significance of a very good employee, or attributes, not significance, attributes of a very good employee is the one who, and you recognize them right away, the one who kind of follows that kind of behavior, the one who shows up early, leaves late, doesn't complain in the middle, works hard. The guy's going to make the most money, but doesn't care about the people around him other than what he can do to help. Because there's a connection, or a disconnect between who people work for. People are always worried about, is the guy next to me getting over, rather than worrying about what can they do to improve the service provided to a customer. What can they do to improve the overall business? That is the value that a good employee brings. A passable employee or a bad employee brings exactly the opposite. They bring the drama. They bring all the extra work and all of the extra emotion, all the trouble. And because it feels right, it feels normal, and it's so hard to escape. So I think that in those terms, we're seeing that exacerbated by people, many who claim that they want to become something, they want to get somewhere, they want to do something, and yet their behavior is exactly the opposite of that. And that behavior, though, it was over time created. It was built. That foundation was put together one brick at a time as you sat there and bitched to Sally next to you about what happened last night at home. You sat there and bitched to Johnny sitting next to you about what happened this morning in the break room. The rule always holds, and the examples never go away. My kids, both my youngest son and my daughter, have jobs. They went and got, one works for Costco, the other one works for PetSmart. And they figured out pretty quickly that everything that their dad had told them over the years that they had no concept of as kids. They're 20 and 22 now. They had no concept of how much complaining there is, how much whining, how much commiseration people are looking for, how much drama there is, how unhappy everybody is. Most people, many people.
Especially in those early jobs.
How many people are professed to be so miserable, who are young and have their whole lives ahead of them because it's built into them, because that's what they heard their parents do, and that's what they heard their grandparents do, and that's what they hear all the people around them do. And the question is, this is much bigger than just people that screwed this up at COVID or screwed up during COVID, as there was a myriad of opportunities for good employees, because everybody's looking for one, and you had your cream, you had your pick of the litter. You still do. You can still get out there and choose the job that you want almost. But you had that opportunity and you didn't take it.